There's no shortage of app switcher replacement tweaks available for jailbroken iOS devices. Four of the most popular ones, Seng, Auxo, Lylac, and Tage, have all been updated for iOS 9 and all work reasonably well enough to warrant comparing the four. With so many app switcher alternatives available, which one should you consider using? We break it down in this video. Auxo 3. This is the tweak that started it all, and as such, it deserves respect. The initial version of Auxo 3 for iOS 9 was sort of a mixed bag and was filled with several bugs. Many of those bugs have been dealt with. For instance, the quick switcher is more stable this time around, although it's still not quite there yet. More than anything though, fans of Auxo were disappointed with the direction of the new multi-center. With the iOS 9 version of the tweak, Auxo maintained the visual style of iOS 9 and incorporated the multi-center features into its own dedicated app switcher card. Now, although this technically works, it arguably makes it slower to use features contained within Control Center. Auxo is the original, so it would be foolish to outright dismiss it, but it definitely feels a bit long in the tooth. Compared to some of the newer app switcher tweaks, Auxo seems to have lagged behind on innovation. Lylac. The newest of the app switcher alternatives, Lylac is like a light version of Auxo for iOS 8. It features a multi-center inspired by Auxo, but it lacks a quick switcher. It's a solid tweak that feels stable enough, but it lacks the diverse swipe up from bottom gestures. That all said, Lylac is the most feature-rich of the bunch when it comes to customizing the visual look of things, but functionality isn't as flashy as some of the other options available. Unfortunately, many of the changes made in the settings require resprings as well. Tage. Tage is the tweak that you want to use if you want a stock-looking appearance with advanced functionality. Tage's app switcher looks very much like a stock iOS 9 app switcher, but advanced functionality lies beneath the surface. Tage omits the presence of a so-called multi-center, a combination of the control center and the app switcher, in favor of a more traditional setup. Tage incorporates gestures and features lots of advanced and nuanced control in its settings. If there's one negative thing to say about Tage, it's just that it isn't flashy enough. It also features an annoying licensing setup that you don't have to deal with when using the other three tweaks in this list. Seng. If there's one negative thing to say about Seng, is that it could be classified as a shameless ripoff of Auxo for iOS 8. But in the history of ripoffs, you'd be hard-pressed to find one that does it this well. It's so good that it's arguably better than the original. Seng features an iOS 8 app switcher infused with Control Center, and it also features dynamic app switcher cards that resize depending on how many Control Center elements you have on screen. Seng's quick switcher works a little bit better than Auxo 3's quick switcher, but it's still not 100% perfect. The quick switcher would probably perform a lot better on newer iOS devices like the iPhone 6s due to the presence of additional RAM. Winner. If I had to choose between one of the four tweaks in this roundup, my decision would be with Seng, no doubt. The other tweaks bring some unique things to the table, but Seng is the most polished. True, it's not as stable as Tage, and it is a bona fide Auxo ripoff, but it's stable enough while incorporating the pizzazz and features other tweaks like Tage and Lylac lack. Let me know what you think in the comment section. This is Jeff with iDownload Blog.